Hi everyone, and what is up to all my little witches out there? Today's video is going to be a little bit more serious and a little bit more important, and some of you may be a little bit grossed out when I tell you what it's about, but that's kind of the point, because I want to take something that normally people are kind of embarrassed about, and worried about, and grossed out by, and tell you that it is completely normal, and there's nothing to worry about, and there's no reason to go, when someone mentions it. Last week I made a throwaway comment in one of my videos about how I had a smear test booked for this week, and inevitably one of the first comments I got was, ugh, too much information, gross. And I get it. A lot of immature children out there are like, oh yuck, vaginas are icky. But to the rest of us adults, vaginas are just a part of life. Whether you're a woman or a man, vaginas exist, and if you have one, it's just another part of the body that we have to look after and be aware of. Being aware of our health and taking care of our bodies is something that we all have to do, no matter how yucky and gross you think that body part may or may not be. I think smear tests and talking about smear tests and going to have a smear test has a hell of a lot of stigma around it. I mean, even the name is kind of gross. Smear test. Yeah. It's not the best, is it? Sometimes people use like cervical screening instead, but that doesn't make it sound any better. That just makes it sound like scary and real. Plenty of people are definitely embarrassed by smear tests or talking about smear tests or having smear tests, and I want to change that. I think it's really, really important that all people with vaginas understand how important a smear test is and how it's not something gross, it's not something to be embarrassed by, and it's definitely not something to be avoided. Also, quick note before I get all the comments from the angry people. I put women in the title of this video for ease, and also because I don't think YouTube would like the phrase people with vaginas. I would probably be demonetized, and I have bills to pay. I'm perfectly aware that trans people exist. Don't worry. I know you're out there. I don't mean to exclude you or disrespect you or anything like that. I'm aware that there can be men with vaginas. In this video, I'm addressing people with vaginas. I just put women in the title out of ease and simplicity. That's all there is to it. We're talking about health here, and gender identity doesn't really come into it, if that makes sense. I just want to focus on the health and the science aspect of things. That's all there is to it. So no disrespect is intended to anyone at all. So I turned 25 this year and had my very first smear test. Not surprisingly, I was a little bit scared going in there, but turns out I had literally nothing to worry about. I was in and out of that health centre in literally 10 minutes. Like, I phoned up Dan to be like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Went into the doctor's, had my test, came back out, phoned him up again, and he was still like, hey, are you still scared? Are you okay? Calm down. I was like, no. It's all done, actually. It's fine. It was that quick. The nurse who did my test was lovely and friendly. She made me so at ease. She was brilliant. She let me have Lullaby, my little stuffed lamb, with me throughout it all, and she didn't make me feel weird about having it, even though I'm a grown adult who relies on stuffed animals to get me through medical tests. I also take her to the dentist, don't judge me. Like I say, it was so fast, it was so quick. I wasn't embarrassed or scared or nervous. Okay, I was a little bit scared at first, but I was soon put at ease. Literally, it was so quick and easy, there was nothing to worry about at all. So I don't know how it is in America exactly, but in the UK, the NHS will invite you for your first smear test at 25, and then every 3 years after that, up to the age of 50, and then every 5 years up to the age of 65. Of course, you'll have to have them a little bit more frequently if anything is found, and so on, but we'll get to that stuff in a minute. But for the majority of people, it's literally 10 minutes every 3 years, and it could potentially save your life. So why not get it done? There's a word I'm saying a lot. Smear test, because I'm trying to make it less weird. But what exactly is it, and what is it for? Basically, a smear test is a test which looks for abnormal cells on your cervix. According to the NHS, a smear test normally finds abnormal cells in about 1 in 20 women. Abnormal cells don't necessarily mean cancer, but they can be an indication that they could turn cancerous in the future. If abnormal cells are found, you normally have to go for further testing or potentially have them removed so they don't turn into cervical cancer in the future. Smear tests in the UK also normally look for the human papillomavirus, or HPV as you might know it. There are hundreds of strains of HPV, and most are harmless, but some of them are known to cause cervical cancer. That's why it's really important that abnormal cells and HPV are identified as soon as possible and treated or removed as quickly as possible to prevent any kind of cancer, and also if you do have cancer, it means you can be treated and recover a lot quicker and a lot easier the sooner it's found. In regards to HPV, the NHS reports that early detection and treatment can prevent 75% of cancers developing, which is kind of ideal, isn't it? Anyone else hear Kyra snoring on the floor, bless her? The other thing to note is even if you've had a HPV vaccine like me, smear tests are still very important because you can still have abnormal cells, you can still get some strains of HPV, it doesn't make you exempt from a smear test. On the topic of trans men, the NHS notes that trans men who still have a cervix and are still registered as female with a GP will also be invited for cervical screening. However, trans men who are registered as male with a GP will not be invited for a test. However, if you have a cervix, you should still phone your GP or a nurse, just your local health centre or doctor's surgery. You should phone them and book a test. You can choose to opt out of this, but I will say if you have a cervix, you should almost definitely get a smear test because it's better to be safe than sorry, regardless of what you identify as. You need to put your health first. Around 3,000 cases of cervical cancer are found in the UK every year, and a lot of these are caught early because of smear tests, which is why it's really important to get yours done, because the earlier you catch it, the more chance you have of recovery. So what about the actual test? Like I keep saying, smear test doesn't sound very nice, it doesn't sound very friendly, it kind of sounds a bit icky, but really, it's not scary or difficult at all. And this is coming from someone who's incredibly squeamish and doesn't like doctors or anything, and oh god, don't get me started on dentists, okay? So, a little bit before my 25th birthday, I got a letter through the post from my local medical centre telling me that I would need a smear test soon. And like an idiot, I kept forgetting to book it. Don't be like me. Seriously, get it over and done with, and then you can put it out of your mind for the next 3 years, and it's a lot easier, okay? Just don't be like me. Ideally, you want to book a test about 2 weeks after your last period in order for the test to get the best possible sample of cells and the most accurate results. This is what kept tripping me up, because for me, 2 weeks after my period, I was always busy doing something else or I was somewhere else, it kept clashing, and it took me 6 months to eventually get a test. That was stupid. Don't be like me. Don't wait 6 months. Do it as soon as you're offered the test. Seriously, it's so quick and simple. I could have just gone in a lunch break or something, and I did. It's that quick and easy, seriously. So during the actual test, you will go into a regular doctor's office, normal as anything. You'll go behind a little screen and just undress from the waist down. And then you'll get a little cover to cover yourself so you don't feel too exposed or anything like that. I thought I'd be super embarrassed by this, but I wasn't at all. The nurse I was with made me feel really, really comfortable. She talked me through every step of the way. She was so friendly, so nice. She locked the door so no one random would walk in. She asked me if I wanted a kind of a chaperone or escort. I said no, it was fine. She asked me if I was okay with her doing the test or if I wanted to switch to another doctor or nurse. I said I was fine. Basically, I was made to feel in control and safe at every single step, which was really, really important and made me feel so good about the whole thing. So, once I was sat on the little hospital bed kind of layout thing, I was told to lay back, pop my feet together, and pop my knees apart. It was that simple. The nurse came and popped a little speculum in my vagina, which basically opened it up so she could see the cervix. Turns out I have a weird cervix and it was in a weird place, so she had to do a little bit of moving around in there, which felt a little bit odd, but it didn't hurt at all. The most it ever hurt was when she was popping the speculum in, and I just told her that it hurt a bit, and she went really, really slow and took it really gently, and it was absolutely fine after that. Then they take a little brush and literally just brush the cervix to gather some cells, and that's it, you're done. Literally 5 minutes. It's not a big deal at all. Afterwards, some women might experience a little bit of spotting or a little bit of tummy ache or cramps. I had that a little bit. It was like a very, very, very mild cramp in my lower stomach, but it was barely anything. It didn't, impact my day or make me feel too terrible. I just took it easy for the rest of the day and I was absolutely fine. Then your cells are sent off to a lab, they're analysed, and you get your results, good or bad, within about 2 weeks in a letter sent straight to your door. It's that simple. It's not a big deal at all. It's not gross, it's not embarrassing. It's just a really, really simple test. And seriously, 10 minutes to do something that could potentially save your life. so worth it for me. So worth it. I think a lot of people get embarrassed about like smear tests and stuff because it's like, oh, it's about your genitals. And people get really embarrassed by that. But when I first suspected that I might need glasses, and can you hear her snoring? Seriously. But when I first suspected that I might need glasses and I was going for an eye test, I didn't feel embarrassed telling people, my boss, my co-workers, when they were asking where I was going. I didn't feel embarrassed telling them I was going for an eye test. So why should anyone feel more embarrassed saying I'm going for a smear test? Our health, no matter what part of the body it's referring to, shouldn't be something we're embarrassed about or ashamed of. It's something we need to step up and look after and take care of, and take responsibility for as well. Ultimately, going for a smear test is your choice, and you can choose to opt out of it, but I really do discourage that. It's so quick, it's so simple, it's not anything to be embarrassed about at all, and I think it's something that more people should be talking about so we can normalise it and stop people feeling embarrassed about it. Stop people thinking it's gross and icky, because it's not. It's a simple test that could save your life, and that's why it's really, really important. You know, we only get one body and we do have to look after it, and the only person who can do that is us. We need to step up and take responsibility for ourselves. And to all the men watching, don't feel excluded by this conversation at all. Understanding what a smear test is and why it's important means that you don't make the women in your life feel uncomfortable or nervous or ashamed of it. Understanding what it is means you can support your partners, your sisters, your friends in something that is perfectly normal. So this video isn't just for the people with vaginas, it's for everyone. Anyway, there we go. I know this is kind of like a short video. I know this is a little bit different from what I normally do, but I did feel like it was a topic that is really, really important to me and that needs talking about on a big platform. I don't have the biggest platform, but you know, it's a start, right? But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this topic down below. Have you been for a smear test? How was it? Is it something you're afraid of or worried about? If you have any questions, let me know and I'll answer to the best that I can based on my experiences with it and stuff. Otherwise, let me know kind of just what you think about opening the dialogue on this topic. Is it something that we should keep private and quiet and not talk about publicly? Or is it something that you think we shouldn't be ashamed of or embarrassed by? Embarrassed by. There we go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for everyone who's supporting my channel this month, especially everyone supporting me on Patreon, including Gambit and his chauffeur, Deshawn, Mark Darner, Christian Berg, Rachel B. Royer, Jadeon Sheppard, Jaylee Moore, Religions BS, Sir Michael Moore, Christian Opitz, Sage Villarreal, Greg Ladd, and Spencer Young. You're all seriously amazing, and I can't thank you enough. Also, check out everyone else mentioned on the end screen here and down in the description below. And if you got a little bit of spare time and you want to check out my merch store, then you know, you can do that if you want. No pressure.